Just one reckless mistake brought down a massive £42 million drug operation, and it all happened in the blink of an eye. On the 4th of May 2024, what looked like a smooth smuggling job went completely sideways when a critical error was made. We're talking about hundreds of kilograms of cocaine, worth a fortune, slipping out of their grasp. This was part of a secret investigation by the United Kingdom's National Crime Agency into a sophisticated drug operation. Officers were tracking a rib that had been loaded with cocaine, transferred from a larger ship out at sea. And the men involved weren't the stereotypical criminals. They came from small towns and fishing communities in Argyll and Bute, and none had serious criminal records. There were 4 of them: Mark Moran, Daniel Livingstone, Anthony McAllister, and Didier Javier Tordesillas Reyes. Each had a role in the smuggling operation. Mark Moran was around 23 years old, living in Glenfine Terrace in Ardrishaig, a small village on Scotland's west coast near the Crinan Canal. Ardrishaig is rooted in fishing and maritime work. Moran knew his way around boats and had local contacts. He wasn't on anyone's radar as a drug dealer, but sources say he coordinated the UK's side of the operation, handling logistics and communication. Then there's Daniel Livingstone, a 25-year-old from Calton Avenue in Campbelltown. Campbelltown is famous for its whiskey distilleries and its busy harbour. Livingstone had maritime know-how and had never drawn police attention. According to court reports, he stayed ashore as a lookout, watching for law enforcement. Now, Anthony McAllister. He's about 33 and from Tainewilt, a village on the shore of Loch Etive, known for ferry services and fish farming. McAllister was a seasoned sailor who agreed to captain a boat which, he said, he believed was carrying tobacco. The jury accepted that account at trial. Unlike his co-defendants, McAllister walked free. Then there's Didier Javier Tordesillas Reyes, in his 40s. He is from Colombia and has no permanent address in the UK. The National Crime Agency identified him as the key link between the cocaine source in South America and its intended destination in the United Kingdom. Investigators believe he traveled from South America to oversee the transfer, suggesting this operation was part of a larger cartel-controlled network. The National Crime Agency's interest in small fishing communities along Scotland's west coast has been growing. Criminal groups are increasingly relying on the maritime skills of people from places like Ardrishaig, Campbelltown and Tainewill. These communities bring specialist seamanship and local knowledge. In late 2022, for example, the French Navy intercepted a yacht carrying around 40 bales of cocaine worth about £140 million. The captain was from the Isle of Lewis. That case formed part of Operation Mentor, a wider European effort to disrupt traffickers using legitimate sailing boats. The National Crime Agency had been watching Moran and his associates for some time, with surveillance teams tracking movements and intercepting communications. Investigators discovered the group had initially bought a small fishing boat to collect cocaine from an offshore ship, but the plan collapsed when the engine failed during a trial run. They abandoned the vessel quietly. Undeterred, they switched tactics and acquired a rib. These craft combine a hard hull with inflatable tubes, making them fast and stable in rough seas. Rescue teams often use them, and smugglers favor them because they can be launched and recovered quickly. The National Crime Agency noted that Moran's group had secured one and arranged vehicles to move it. The operation began on the 3rd of May 2024. Moran and Reyes launched the rib from a public slipway at Hessel, close to the Humber Bridge. Before they set off, Daniel Livingstone bought red diesel in 2 large fuel cans to fuel the boat. Livingstone stayed behind, acting as lookout and preparing the van for the return. Meanwhile, Moran and Reyes headed into the North Sea, and officers suspected they were on their way to meet a larger vessel holding the cocaine. While all this unfolded, National Crime Agency surveillance teams observed from a distance, choosing not to intervene during the launch or transfer. They wanted to map roles and responsibilities. In the early hours of the 4th of May, The rib returned to shore near the Easington Caravan Park, around 18 miles from the Hessel Slipway. Moran and Reyes unloaded several black bags from the boat into a grey van. The boat was left on the beach, partly buried in gravel, with life jackets and wet clothing tossed aside. Livingston helped with the bags and drove the van away. They likely believed the riskiest part was over. Inside the black bags was 524 kilograms of cocaine. To give scale, a kilogram of high-purity cocaine costs tens of thousands of pounds at bulk prices. Tests later showed a purity between 86 and 89%. The packages were wrapped in plastic and vacuum sealed in the familiar cartel style. The haul was valued at around 40 to 42 million pounds. That level of purity suggested the cocaine had not been cut and was destined for distribution across the United Kingdom. The bricks bore distinctive markings used by South American producers, effectively a narcotics barcode for tracking during distribution. After loading the van, the group drove to Lely and parked outside the Stag's Head Inn, a small rural pub. They checked into rooms, assuming that staying nearby would keep them under the radar. But National Crime Agency officers were still watching. Through the night, surveillance teams kept the van and suspects under observation, waiting for the ideal moment to strike and secure evidence for convictions. At about 8:30 the next morning, the raid began. Officers from the National Crime Agency, Humberside Police, Border Force, and the Yorkshire and Humber Regional Organised Crime Unit moved in swiftly. The van was surrounded, doors opened, and Moran, Livingstone, and Reyes were arrested without resistance. McAllister, who was not at the inn, was arrested separately later that morning. Inside the van, officers found the 524 kilograms of cocaine in black bags. Some packs were still damp from the sea. Investigators later recovered the abandoned rib from a beach near Easington, along with fuel containers, clothing, and life jackets. The surveillance and the controlled arrests were meticulous. Everything was documented, and the suspects were caught red-handed. Fast forward to the trial at Hull Crown Court in the autumn of 2024. Prosecutors presented compelling evidence showing that Moran and Reyes had taken the rib from the Hessel Slipway and landed the drugs on that beach. Text messages recovered from phones revealed route planning, timings, and coded exchanges, including moving the boat from Norwich to Grimsby and then to Hessel. Daniel Livingstone admitted his role and pleaded guilty on the 5th of June 2024. Mark Moran denied conspiring to import a Class A drug, claiming he did not know what was in the bags. After an 8-day trial in October 2024, the jury convicted him. Didier Tordesillas Reyes pleaded guilty on the 22nd of July 2024, admitting he brought the cocaine ashore. The judge was clear. Transporting more than half a ton of high-purity cocaine is a grave offense. Mark Moran received 15 years imprisonment. Daniel Livingstone, who pleaded guilty early, was sentenced to 7 years and 9 months. Didier Tordesillas Reyes was jailed for 13.5 years, and Anthony McAllister, who faced trial over the incident, was cleared. Although this particular smuggling run was stopped, officials warn the networks behind it remain active. Another small boat could attempt the same route. The National Crime Agency says it will continue to disrupt these groups. Cocaine trafficking harms communities. Large shipments feed markets that drive addiction and violence, and the profits often fund further criminal activity. Seizing more than half a ton of cocaine disrupts a significant chunk of the supply chain and prevents hundreds of millions of pounds worth of drugs reaching the streets. But persistent demand means traffickers will keep seeking new routes and methods, so law enforcement must stay alert. Thanks for watching this story into the Lely smuggling operation, and we'll see you in the next one.